My name is Mustafa. I'm from group 2108. Today I defend machine learning lab 8. So at first, we we at first we our datasets loaded the pandas the frame df. At first we import pandas, imports such as matplotlib, pyplot, sklearn classer, and sklearn processing. Then we iris dataset loaded independence the frame df and using read csv function from pandas. Then we the standard scaled function was sklearn processing used to standardize the data in df data frame and the columns sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. Then we key-means clustering algorithm used to cluster standardized data into different numbers of clusters ranking from 1 to 10. The key-means function from sklearn closure used to perform key-means clustering. The the sum squared distance for each number closure is stored the list WCSS. Plot the crate using matplotlib the visual the results. The plot shows the relationship between the number closure and the sum of squared distance. The plot labeled with title X as its label and the Y as its label. Then with the plot display using the show function from matplotlib. So homework 2. This code performance key-means clustering on the iris dataset. The iris dataset contains the sample length, sample width, sample length, and the petal width of 115 iris flowers, and they use as simple example clustering. The code first performs data pre-processing by standardizing sample length, sample width, petal length, and the petal width that using a standard scale method. Next, the code uses a loop to perform key-means clustering the different values of k, the number of closure, and the store with closure sum squared distance WCSS for each value of k. The WCSS uses to determine the optional number of clusters. Then the code they use elbow method. Usually the WCSS determines the optional number of clusters. The elbow method plots the WCSS function of the number of closure and the optional number of the closure determined as the elbow method. So where WCSS starts to level of. Finally, the code performs key-means clustering for the optional number of clusters. Uses scatter plot to visualize the results, where each point representing iris flowers and the color of the point represents the second cluster. The plot also shows controls each cluster, which are the mean value of the future of the flowers in each cluster. Then homework 3, we have question what's the word linking method and explain it. So here we explained what is a word linking method. So next one, let's move on the homework 4, the last one. At first we import pandas as PED from sklearn datasets. Import load iris function from scale method used to load the iris dataset. then then mm, iris datasets converted the pandas data frame iris df and the column names the set uh, iris future names. The linking method from CSPy cluster hierarchy user perform hierarchical closing of iris.df. User word method user for the clustering. Then program function from CSPy cluster hierarchy user the plot hierarchical clustering results. The plot display using the show function from matplotlib. So thank you for your attention. Goodbye.